Review bombing, the proud exercise of taking the digital democratization of review platforms meant to be a place to express an individual's thoughts on the creative merits of movies and TV shows, and instead weaponizing them to bring personal political biases and agendas to bear. So what is review bombing, and what is it not? How did we get here, and how are online platforms like Rotten Tomatoes trying to fight it? Hey guys, my name is John Campea. I'm the host of the John Campea Show, a daily 2-hour live stream talking about movies, movie news, TV, and streaming. Come on by and join us sometime. Movies and TV shows being review bombed refers to the practice of a person or group of people coordinating to post negative reviews of a movie or show, usually due to a political or personal agenda. This phenomenon has become increasingly common in recent years, particularly with the rise of social media and the ease of access to review platforms such as Rotten Tomatoes and even IMDb. Now, I think it's very important to stress right up front what review bombing is not. Watching a movie or TV show and just finding that it didn't work for you, maybe it was a comedy that you didn't find funny, or a thriller that didn't thrill you, a drama whose story didn't make any sense. Whatever the reason, it just didn't give you a great experience watching it, and you go and give a negative review as a result, that is not review bombing. Being able to be critical of the quality of the art we watch is every bit as important to the fan experience as praising the quality of the art that we watch. We watch something we like, we celebrate it. We watch something we don't like, we criticize it, and then we move on. But when negative, often scathing reviews are given to a movie or a show before that movie or show has even come out, or when the motivation of a negative review isn't based on creative merit, but rather the show or movie not aligning with that individual's political or cultural beliefs, that is review bombing. At its core, review bombing is an act of retaliation designed to hurt or harm individuals or projects or studios. What they're retaliating against can vary. Perhaps the movie has a social theme that the reviewer rejects. Perhaps the movie portrays women or minorities outside of the roles that person feels they should be limited to. Sometimes it's in retaliation against something an actor or director has said or done outside of the movie that person takes offense to, or several other factors. Either way, review bombers take to review platforms not to give their perspectives on the creative merits of a film, like they're meant for, but rather to bludgeon a project for their own personal agendas and gripes. For example, I remember the very first example of review bombing I ever came across was back when Christopher Nolan's The Dark Knight came out. Now, the movie is unquestionably one of the greatest comic book movies of all time, no question. Well, at the time, though, The Godfather was the #1 ranked film of all time on IMDb. Dark Knight fans decided they wanted the Batman movie to be #1. So instead of just voting positively for The Dark Knight, a slew of fans organized to collectively downvote or give 1-star reviews to The Godfather in order to bring it down. This is classic review bombing in the sense that the downvotes had nothing to do with the creative merits of The Godfather, but rather more to do with their other agenda. Side note, as of this recording, Shawshank Redemption is the #1 ranked film of all time on IMDb. The Godfather is #2. The Dark Knight is #3. A good example of retaliation review bombing happened when the Adam Wingard 2021 film Godzilla vs. Kong came out. A large number of people started attacking the movie, but not because they didn't think it was good, but rather for another reason that good entertainment website CBR wrote about in 2022, saying, "Last year, fans of Justice League director Zack Snyder took to review bombing Adam Wingard's Godzilla vs. Kong, seemingly in an effort to get Warner Brothers Pictures' attention as a part of the #RestoreTheSnyderverse movement. Godzilla vs. Kong premiered simultaneously in theaters and on HBO Max on March 31st, 2021, just 2 weeks after Zack Snyder's Justice League premiered exclusively on HBO Max on March 18th of 2021. Seemingly viewing the kaiju film's close proximity as a threat, Snyder fans began to bombard Godzilla vs. Kong with 1-star reviews on IMDb, which were often accompanied by the #RestoreTheSnyderverse. An example of culture war agenda review bombing came in the form of organized Facebook group called Down with Disney's Treatment for Franchises and Its Fanboys. Yes, that was the group's actual name. Obviously, a lot of sharp thinkers in that little cabal. The group took credit for organizing a coordinated social media attack of Star Wars actress Kelly Marie Tran, which led to her leaving social media. In a post titled, "I Drove Kelly Marie Tran Off Social Media, I Loved Every Minute of It," the group's organizers wrote the following to their members. "Now go out there and fight for Legends restoration. Go out there and reverse this forced diversity. Go out there and show them what real Star Wars fans look like. Bring back the straight white male hero." The group later went on to organize an event called Give Black Panther a Rotten Audience Score on Rotten Tomatoes, scheduled for the day before Black Panther was even released. For a movie they had not seen yet, they were organizing a review event. Outstanding. Now, side note, shortly afterwards, Facebook removed the group from their platform, and I just can't imagine why. Now, to be clear, movies and TV shows aren't the only recipients of review bombing. The video game industry has seen its share as well. One of the more notable examples of review bombing in recent years occurred in 2018 when the video game Firewatch was targeted by a group of users who were unhappy with the game's developer, Campo Santo, for filing a copyright claim against massively popular YouTuber PewDiePie. The negative reviews flooded in, causing the game's rating on Steam to drop significantly. Now, occurrences like these motivated the online platforms to start to take steps to try to curb the effects of review bombing. And while there is no perfect foolproof system to fight review bombing, in the case of Steam, the prominent video game digital distribution service, they came up with a rather great system. For a user to leave a review on a game in Steam, the user must actually own the game. Crazy, right? Now, on top of that, to give review readers context of the user reviews they're reading, Steam includes the number of hours the reviewer has actually played the game. That way, the reader can see how much of the game this reviewer actually played. A review given by somebody who's only played the game like 10 minutes won't be given as much seriousness as, say, somebody who left a review who played the game like 5 hours. In the world of movies, Rotten Tomatoes decided to take a couple of major steps in updating their user-submitted review policies after a noticeable unfortunate uptick in review bombing was starting to happen, often before the movies even came out in theaters, like in the case of Captain Marvel. Rotten Tomatoes started with the common sense step of taking away the ability of users to comment on a movie before the movie had actually opened in theaters. Imagine that. And then they implemented a system where a user would be asked to verify that they had actually seen the movie. This verification was done on their site for people who bought their movie tickets through Fandango, AMC, Regal, and Cinemark, and some other participating sites. This resulted in what they called verified audience ratings for their audience scores. Now, obviously, the review bombers cried foul when Rotten Tomatoes did this, claiming it was an act of censorship. But, as one Rotten Tomatoes rep said in reply to the censorship accusation, "Not at all. We'd love to hear your thoughts on a movie. We just, want you to have seen the movie before you tell us your thoughts on it." I'd suggest that any platform that accepts user reviews without any sort of system in place to try to verify that a submitter has actually seen the movie in question or played the game that they're reviewing, then that platform's user reviews are completely useless and should just be ignored. It's why on my show, I never reference or even acknowledge IMDb user ratings, because I just have no idea if the people voting have actually seen the movie they're talking about or not, which is why the steps being taken by Rotten Tomatoes and others are so important. These steps have made it more difficult for review bombers, and as long as people have agendas and gripes and grievances, the battle will go on. But as long as platforms like Rotten Tomatoes and Steam continue to try to innovate ways to keep review bombers in check, then hope remains that movie fans can read and engage with their fellow fans' reviews, trusting that regardless if they're positive or negative, they'll at least be legitimate. So what do you guys think? What more can be done by these sites to try to curb the rise of review bombing? Do you think they can ever actually get rid of it? Whatever your thoughts are, jump down into the comment section below and leave your thoughts there. That'll do it for this video, guys. Thanks a lot for joining us. My name's John Campea, and until next time, bye-bye.